On this episode of the Film Optix Podcast, it looks like there's a new Justice League Rebirth film in the works. It also looks like there's a bit of Black Widow spoiler controversy going on out there, and we have a lot of gaming news for you as well. So let's jump in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Optix Podcast, brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network, where we bring you the headline hot takes of entertainment news. I am your host, Christian, and today, as always, every single week, we are going to be talking about the world of film, TV, video games, and everything pop culture related. And as always, I'm joined by my good friend and my co-host, Devin. How are you doing today, man?
Doing good. It's almost Friday. We're almost there.
It's Friday. Yeah, it's almost there, man. It's been, I gotta admit, the first, like, Monday through Thursday went by so fast. No, Monday through Wednesday went by so fast. Today, it's a bit of a slow day, but I figured we were gonna get a slow day in there somewhere. So yeah. I'm glad it's today, and hopefully not today and tomorrow. But
I did some spring/summer cleaning today in the apartment. It's always good. It's always a good feeling once you're done.
Yeah, actually, I need to do that with our apartment because it's long overdue for sure. And I actually might do that this weekend. You know, it's a non-holiday weekend. I got all my funness out. You know, this past holiday weekend, all of my extracurricular activities. So I think this might be the weekend to do it, to be completely honest. So. Before we begin today's podcast, or news show, I should say, you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Red Circle, TuneIn, Pandora, and iHeart Radio. So, yeah, let's jump into some comic book news. All right, so do you want to take this first one, or should I take it? Because I think you should take it because you discovered the story. So,
yeah, it looks like the director of Black Widow has caused a bit of a stir on the internet by mentioning that the Black Widow movie will hand the baton to Florence Pugh, making her the future Black Widow of the MCU, which you and I were in agreement seemed pretty obvious from the beginning of the movie and her casting. So I don't know why people are freaking out saying how much of a spoiler it is. It's so obvious.
Yeah, like it's kind of a mixed bag because everyone's like, "Yo, man, you know this is a spoiler," you know, like. But it's like, I mean, come on, you don't cast.
Florence Pugh is way too big of a star to just waste on one movie. Like, of course they're gonna make her the next Black Widow. She's so good.
Right, like you don't cast someone like Florence Pugh. Be like, oh yeah, and especially in a big universe like this, and say, okay, yeah, you know, we're not going to make her. We're not going to just keep her around for one movie. You know, we're going to keep this going. And I mean, they were saying that they weren't aware of how like talented she is. It's like, have you seen her in her other movies? She's hella talented. She's so versatile. It's like. It's insane.
That Russian accent, too, gets it done. We'll see if she keeps it, unlike Natasha and her mixing of accents.
Yeah, or Scarlet Witch as well.
Yeah.
Because that kind of goes away. But I love it when Florence Pugh, she's like, what brings you home? I was like, I love it. But I really hope there's like a scene where she goes like, pew, 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 pew. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
I'm actually curious to see how they're gonna like pull it off and like explain why she wasn't around the past like 10 years or whatever time the MCU was between Black Widow and Endgame. They're gonna have to find a way to explain how she wasn't around.
That is true.
Just like with everyone knew. Everyone
knew. Yeah, it's like, where did Spider-Man come from? Where did Black Panther come from? Doctor Strange, etc. But it's kind of like. They were talking about how they didn't know how great Florence Pugh would be. They knew she would be great, but they didn't know how great. And, I mean, it even says that, like, you know, Scarlett's, like, gracious. She's like, oh, I'm handing the baton to Florence. So I don't see how this is a spoiler at all. That's like saying, oh my God, Anakin falls to the dark side in Star Wars. You watch episodes 4 through 6, and then you watch the prequels. It's like, well, of course you know what's going to happen. And everyone's saying, oh, well, why are we now just getting a movie with Black Widow? You know, like, yes, I believe it is a little bit long overdue, but at least it's better late than never. But it's like, it's the same thing. Everyone's like, oh, well, I really don't care about this movie because, you know, Scarlett Witch is already dead. It's like, well, I mean, we already knew that Anakin dies in episode 6 of Star Wars, and yet we got 3 movies and an entire series dealing with Anakin with the Clone Wars. So it's like, I mean, come on, people. That's a bit. Look, give Kate Shortland some slack here.
It's like, just too perfect. I mean, you hand it off to Florence Pugh. She's the future Black Widow, and everything works out. Exactly.
I mean, and honestly, it kind of falls into place because this happens in between. This movie happens in between Civil War and Infinity War. So, you know, she's off doing who knows what wherever. And then obviously we know Black Widow dies at the end of Endgame. Florence Pugh's character,
maybe she hears about it and then
she hears about the news in some way, and appears. And I mean, come on, it's too perfect. Like, yeah, it's a bit of a mishap, but like it's one of those mistakes that kind of just fits and it corrects itself in some way. But I mean, not everything continuity wise is going to be, you know, amazingly woven together and like, oh yeah, you know, this is just like fantastic. But I mean, it is what it is. So, not a spoiler for all of you out there listening. If you feel different, that's totally fine. But we're on team not a spoiler. So,
just like Team Hamilton is a movie.
Yes, Team Hamilton is a movie. Okay, I'm going to be clear: the Disney Plus version of Hamilton, because what defines the movie is definitely what the Disney Plus version of Hamilton is. I'm going to bring this up really quick, actually, before we get into this next news story. A movie is a story or event recorded by a camera as a set of moving images and shown in a theater or television, a.k.a. a motion picture.
Yeah, it's just like if you recorded your like son or daughter's awful kindergarten play and then got a tape of it and took it home, it'd be called a home video.
Yeah,
or
which
home movie.
It's a home movie. Like, I mean, I don't know. People have the differences. I understand why people don't feel that way, but I think it should be considered for an Oscar. We got a lot of shovelware this year anyway with movies, so why not? So I don't know. But let's move on to our next bit of news here. We have Warner Brothers has begun a development of a Zatanna movie, which she is a DC character for those of you who don't know. She's one of the most popular DC characters. And at long last, Zatanna is going to be getting her own movie on the silver screen. There's been a lot of speculations with this over the past few years. And
I have 3 words for you.
Ooh, Haley Steinfeld?
Ana de Armas.
Yes. You know, a lot of people are saying that she can play good Poison Ivy as well. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, whatever works. I just want to see her more.
And more stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely do too. But yeah, actually, I agree.
I've also seen Zendaya floated around.
Yeah, she'd be another good one as well. I'm trying to figure out who else. I had somebody else in mind. Someone had said Caitlin Dever, and I was like, okay, maybe. But I feel like some people just go off like based off the looks. But I definitely think that Zendaya and or Ana de Armas would be pretty cool for this role as well. But it could be an unknown person, which I'm totally cool with as well. So, I mean, she, you know, Zatanna, she's been in a lot of DC animated universe movies, all of which Devin has not watched yet, but that's fine. But there was rumors that she'll actually show up in the James Gunn's The Suicide Squad next year. So, I mean, maybe. That'd be pretty cool. Kind of nice little cameo. I mean, I think that the DC animated universe does a really good job of having cameos within their films without them being, too like they move the plot forward in some way, shape, or form, and then they kind of disappear. So that would be pretty cool. But you want to take this next one, Devin? I know you're craving for that Stargirl news.
Oh, we're skipping over this Justice League Rebirth.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
It looks like there's a rumor that that DC is working on a Justice League Rebirth film at Warner Brothers. Just reading the article here. The Rebirth is kind of like a reset button that they can push at any point. It happened during the New 52 era and it was a relaunch of DC Comics' entire lineup. So it would make sense for them to do this for the DCEU because, well, they've sucked for a while now. But I kind of think it's probably too late. I don't know. They should have done it after Justice League.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Justice League thing, we all know it's a mess from the beginning. And if there wasn't a lot of studio interference, everyone would have got their precious Snyder cut. I kind of had a hunch that eventually they would make a new Justice League movie, but I didn't know the rumors would pop up so soon. I would have thought it would have been maybe like a few years after Zack Snyder's
They should have learned their lesson after rushing the first one.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a mess altogether. You know what I mean? But I mean, at least they're trying to quote unquote fix it. But I mean, we've said this time and time again. DC needs their own version of Kevin Feige. I mean, whether that have been Zack Snyder or somebody else, they need someone at the head of, DC Comics saying, okay, we're going to have, we're planning all these extra movies and they need to be cohesive, or if they're going to do standalone, that's totally fine. But I just feel like DC's trying to do too much at the same time to correct the mistakes that they made in the past. But I mean, was there anything else you wanted to touch on there, or you want to move on to our next topic? I mean, that's pretty much all.
On to some CW news. That's very important to me. I know you loved CW.
I've never seen a CW show a day in my life, but apparently Stargirl is getting renewed for season 2 and moves from the CW to the DC moves to the CW from DC Universe. Okay, so their lackluster streaming service that should just be absorbed with HBO Max to begin with. So whatever. I heard the first season of Stargirl was not good, and I just don't really care for it. I mean, it's cool. I know we have a little bit more CW news here as well with Batwoman. There's a new Batwoman in town, so she'll be taking over. I forgot the girl's name. The girl who played Batwoman before.
Ruby Rose.
Yeah, Ruby Rose. God, I cannot pronounce that name.
Javicia Leslie, something like that.
Yeah, Javicia Leslie. I mean, good for them. They're getting someone who can probably fit that role. Will this get me to start watching Batwoman or CW? I mean, or Stargirl? No, not at all.
I don't care about CW shows, so I have no comment.
I mean, I've heard Arrow's pretty good, but other than that, I mean, I'm just not going. I might watch that Crisis on Infinite Earths thing at some point, but right now I'm rewatching Big Bang Theory and just kind of chilling, So, yeah, I mean, congratulations for the CW. Hopefully they get a lot, more eyes on their shows, but congratulations to Javicia Leslie for landing the part in Batwoman. That's cool. I saw a lot of people online were saying, oh, well, it doesn't really fit into the character that she's black. And I was like, well, from what I've read, her race actually has nothing to do with her backstory, so that's fine. If it did, if she was Russian or Italian, sure. But it doesn't. So, cool. I guess so. That pretty much does it for our comic book news here today. Sorry about that. Got a little distracted there for a second But it was kind of short week for comic book news. I'm sure there's a few other things out there. But let's head on into the general news. All right. So, do you want to take
Holland,
this first one?
our
Yeah,
favorite
Tom
Spidey.
Holland. Tommy Holland. TH.
Him
Tommy C.
and the Russo brothers' upcoming movie Cherry is almost done, and there's a trailer coming soon.
Interesting.
In the movie, he plays an army medic who has PTSD and becomes a bank robber to support a drug addiction. Sounds very interesting.
It's the simple things in life, right?
Yeah. Everyone does it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been clamoring for this for a very, very long time. We've been hearing whispers of it. I think they filmed a little bit of it in Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. But hopefully we get a trailer soon. Do you think this is going to go straight to VOD?
Probably.
Yeah,
especially if it's almost done. Might as well put it out. Unless you're waiting for theater release,
it's just
C. Nolan.
Yeah, I mean, for AAA or the big time studios, it makes sense. You spend all this money, this time, this energy, this resources on these projects, and you want them to be seen on the big screen. I get it. But honestly, movies like this or Emma or The Hunt, Scoob, Artemis File, things of that nature, I am 100% fine. Or SpongeBob SquarePants, the new one. I'm totally fine with them just coming straight to VOD because 9 times out of 10, it kind of just funnels out the things that you're not going to see in the theaters anyway, and you still get an option, or you still get the option to see it if you want to. It's just in the comfort of your own home. So, and if you want to review, if you're a content creator, there you go. So,
yeah,
Tom Holland, Cherry, VOD. Let's make it happen. So we have a interesting little tidbit of news here. I think you shared this in the group chat. It looks like Zendaya and John David Washington filmed a secret movie during lockdown without face masks. Can you believe it? No. So it looks like a secret movie starring Zendaya and John David Washington called Malcolm and Marie was filmed during COVID-19 pandemic. The world has been dealing with the pandemic for a while, as we know, and most of Hollywood has been shut down since March. But it looks like Zendaya and John David Washington did the dirty. And
they're doing something fun in this screenshot.
Yeah, it's written written
and directed by the Euphoria creator. So obviously he's known for some naughty tones.
You watched that, right?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, very.
I might have to check
crazy.
It out.
But Deadline also mentions that the film has some echoes of Netflix's Marriage Story, while resonating a number of social themes that the world is experiencing right now. Sounds interesting.
And Zendaya confirmed this by sharing the news on Twitter earlier yesterday, I believe it was. So cool. And we all know Euphoria season 2 is supposed to be coming out. I'll definitely have to check out that show. I think that'll definitely be the next thing that I try to watch. Right now, I'm kind of just, like I said, I'm just rewatching sitcoms and things like that. I know my roommate's actually watching Community for the first time, or all the way through. He said he's seen a few episodes. But, yeah, Malcolm and Marie coming to VOD, theater, wherever near you soon enough. But you want to take this next piece of news here. Very interesting news week, actually.
Halle Berry pulls out of transgender film role after internet-wide backlash. There was a lot of backlash for this. But I noticed. Yeah.
It looks like she pulled out of a role of an upcoming film where she plays a transgender character. And, of course, as we said, she is facing that backlash. But it looks like an Instagram live interview on Friday, Halle Berry had said that she had been preparing for the role but not been officially cast as of yet. So it looks like it is a woman that is a trans character. So she's a woman that transitions into a man. She is a character in a project that she'd seen that she wanted to do. And she wanted to kind of take a deep dive into that world, with when it comes to the trans community. But it looks like she got a lot of backlash after misgendering the character multiple times during the interview, which I feel like that's a bit far that people are, taking that backlash. I feel like the whole transgender thing, to a lot of people, is still really new. And, I mean, you can't just expect everyone to know everything about your own community.
If she wants to play this person in a role, I feel like she should know at least what she's talking about before she does. That's where that backlash comes in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
it's disingenuous if you're going to try to play the person and then not at least have the knowledge of it, let alone any experience with it.
The experience part, I definitely agree with. I mean, I guess I'm just coming from the part, the place of, people say stupid stuff in interviews all the time. They don't even realize what they're saying. I mean, freaking Mark Ruffalo, completely just spoiled all of Endgame in that one interview with him and Don Cheadle when he said, look, everybody dies. And it just kind of came out. But, I mean, I guess instead of, having this, online backlash, it'd be better to, try to educate people in a better way.
Well, I mean, they still are. There's a lot of tweets just pointing her in the direction of a documentary that she can watch in order to educate herself.
Yeah, which is fine, but it looks like she backed out of it completely because it's just I would probably do the same thing, to be completely honest, because that is one community. This is one of the communities you just don't want to piss off. I would not want to misrepresent anything or, But then again, I feel like she might get backlash. Let's say if she does go through with the role, that she still might get backlash for, a director decision that she really has no say in. So I think she kind of made the smart decision to kind of just back out of it for now. And she kind of realizes that she should not have been considered for this role, which is, totally fine. I don't really know that many transgendered actors or actresses, but I mean, I feel
that's part of the main issue, that no one really knows any of these actors and actresses because they don't get the chance to represent themselves.
Yeah. So, I mean, good for Halle for backing out of that role. But another thing I'll be backing out of myself, but I'll let you take this next one here.
There's going to be an Office podcast coming soon, exclusively to Spotify.
Nope, don't like that.
I don't understand. If you didn't have Spotify, I'd understand. But you have Spotify and like Spotify. So, but why would you not even give it a chance?
Because it's kind of I feel like the podcast space is going to become fragmented, like the PC gaming space is starting to become, because we have, games on Epic and we have games on Steam. You have games on, Origins. You have games on Uplay, et cetera, et cetera. It's just that everyone has there's a reason why there's so many podcasts, platforms, and there's a reason why we're on so many podcast platforms, because I know people who have iPhones, but they don't necessarily use Apple Podcast. They use Spotify or they use Stitcher or Google Podcasts, just because that's either the one thing that they kind of were first introduced to. But it's not the fact that it's an Office podcast. It's the fact that it's exclusive to Spotify. When I go to Spotify, I listen to music. I know I can listen to podcasts, and I have in the past before, but it's once I realized all those other podcasts were on Apple Podcasts, that's pretty much where I, just listen to all my stuff. But sometimes, there are some podcasts that aren't on Apple Podcasts, they're on Spotify, but it's just, I don't like the exclusivity of having one show on one podcast platform. I get that, they're trying to build this audience saying, hey, we're not just music, we're also podcasts as well. And it's a great idea, and I'm glad that they're doing it because, of course, we're also on Spotify. But to kind of force people only. I don't know. I'm just not too much of a fan of exclusivity when it comes to spotlight podcasts. Like we've seen it in games and things like that nature long enough. I don't need it everywhere I go. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about this?
That definitely won't stop me from listening. I mean, I'll give it a few episodes to see if other people are enjoying it, and then maybe I'll hop on, but we'll see. It's kind of like there's a Scrubs podcast that came out recently with Zach Braff and Donald Faison. They've been doing it during quarantine, just kind of rewatching episodes and talking about stuff. So if it's like that, it could be pretty good.
Yeah. I guess I'm just more of, giving listeners a choice of where they want to listen to, because there's been so many times where I've plugged our podcast and one of my other friends, like if I'm sending them a message or something like an iMessage or something, they're like, oh, well, do you they're like, oh, is your podcast on Spotify? So yeah, it's on Spotify as well. If they want to listen to it there, that's totally fine. I'll try it out. It's just, all the podcasts I listen to are on Apple Podcasts. And honestly, if your podcast isn't on Apple Podcasts, definitely get that ball rolling, because it's the biggest platform for podcasts as well. So, and of course, one of the firsts, and that's where a majority of our downloads come from I found out recently. And we've been getting a little bit of a spike in Pandora. It's really weird.
So strange.
But hey, people listen to podcasts on Pandora, keep it up. We love you. But you want to talk about Hamilton, the movie, Disney
The
Plus
movie,
news.
the movie Hamilton. Hamilton, the movie. The film, Hamilton is a film, and it's on Disney Plus. And it has done wonders for the Disney Plus app, causing downloads to raise 74% over the weekend in the U.S., which is not surprising because almost everyone in the country has at least some interest in Hamilton. Now they have the chance to watch it from home.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about rewatching it again this weekend because I enjoyed it so much. And I'm just like, hey, if this comes out on Blu-ray, I'll definitely buy it because, hey, you know what comes out on Blu-rays? Movies. Just saying. I could definitely see them pushing this to some type of Blu-ray or home video format, even if it is just digital, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, we did a review of it with Kenzie and Jacob from the Music City Drive-In podcast, and we had a great time. We talked about all things Hamilton and the Irishman and whatnot. I don't know how we got on that subject, but hey, here we are. But yeah, congrats to, Hamilton, Lin-Manuel, his entire cast, the original 2016 cast, and, popping this out. It came out on, Independence Day weekend. So it's just really good. I need to watch this again. So, hey man, 70%, 74% over the weekend. That's insane. But I'll take this next one here. Well, it looks like I clicked on the link. It says the page does not exist, but it looks like Last Night in Soho's Edgar Wright teases a very different new film. Are you able to pull up that?
Yeah, this film is an unsettling, time-hopping fright fest. Sounds interesting. Mysterious plot centers on three figures: Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Matt Smith.
All right.
So Edgar Wright is obviously known for more comedy action type movies, so it looks like he's mixing it up a bit.
Okay, now it wants to pop up for me. I don't know why it wasn't popping up before. That is very, very odd. Oh, well. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That is the next news story that just popped up. My computer is acting really weird today. But do you have any other thoughts about that? I'll probably check it out at some point.
If it's Edgar Wright, I'm in. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into our next news story. You want to take this one, Devin?
All right. Let's see. We got John Boyega, Jack Rayner, Jodie Turner-Smith, and Felicity Jones are all set to star in a thriller called Borderland, which is not the same thing as Borderlands. I'm surprised they went along with this title because it's so similar, but is from the Uninvited Directors and the Public Enemies writer. I mean, it's a great cast.
Oh no, it's a stacked cast. When I first saw this, I like when I see Borderland, I automatically think Borderlands, the video game, but that is not the case here. So I mean, hey, this is great. You know, we get to see John Boyega, of course, in more roles, and we have Jack Raynor from Midsummer,
fully clothed this time, hopefully.
Hopefully. And we have Felicity Jones, Theory of Everything, and the Star Wars Rogue One story as well. And Queen and Slim's Jodie Turner-Smith. So looks like she's been getting some recognition, so that's really good. I saw the Blu-ray for Queen and Slim like the other day at Walmart or something. It was like almost like $35 for the Blu-ray. I was like, pass. I don't think I was going to pick up that movie anyway. But, yeah, it's all right. But, yeah, great stacked cast, and I'm just excited to see where they come with this or where they lead with this film. And we'll just have to keep our eye out for, some more information. So, all these great movies, great ideas, our concepts are coming out, but, everything, like the concepts come out, but of course, they can only do production so much to a halt. And even when they decide to begin production is a whole different story. So, oh, well. All right. So we have, coming up on our last bit of general news here, we have the Lord of the Rings TV show has gotten the green light, to resume filming in New Zealand. I feel a lot of places or a lot of shows and TV and movies are actually resuming filming. I think we had a few Warner Brothers titles that are going to be resuming filming in the UK, which is pretty cool. This came out like ages ago. So it looks like Amazon's Lord of the Rings and Netflix's Cowboy Bebop are allowed to resume filming in New Zealand after productions were halted due to COVID-19. This has been, in talks for a while. There really isn't that much information on this. Earlier this year, the Lord of the Rings series had been, put on pause. They kind of had a little bit of production in New Zealand, and the cast and crew were sent home until further notice. So it looks like they got a little bit done, but probably nothing too much to scratch the surface. So, yeah. I mean, it's just good news that, certain shows are able to resume filming, and I think the Lord of the Rings TV show being filmed in New Zealand, because that is where the original trilogy was filmed as well, is kind of fitting. So it really has that nice landscape, and it's just a nice round circle to round everything out. But you want to take our last bit of news here for the general section.
All right, horror fans, cover your ears. You're not going to want to hear this.
Oh, let me cover my ears.
Well, you're not a horror fan, so you're good to go.
Yeah, that's true.
You're an aspiring horror fan, possibly.
I'm an aspiring thriller and suspense watcher. Like, I want to watch Hereditary, but I don't think I could do it alone. But I probably will.
Just get a blankie, just curl up in under
get some
your
nice hot
blankie,
cocoa.
the covers. But
like
Universal has changed the release date for 4 upcoming horror movies. We got the much anticipated Candyman has been pushed back to October 16th, 2020. Was that supposed to come out in July or August?
I think so, yeah. It was supposed to come out earlier this year, or earlier than October. I think it was August.
And then we got the much less anticipated Forever Purge. Don't know anything about this. They just keep pumping them out, but that's pushed back to July 9th, 2021. And then the next 2 Halloween films, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, have both been pushed back a year, respectively. Halloween Kills, October 15th, 2021, and Halloween Ends, October 14th, 2022.
Interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. I mean, I'm excited for Candyman. I don't really care for The Purge. Never really care for Halloween, any of the Halloween movies. So, yeah. I mean, you got anything else you want to say on this matter? Or
Like I said, horror fans, it sucks, but thank COVID and wear masks. Yeah. Your favorite horror icons can wear masks, so can you. If Michael Myers can wear a mask.
If Michael Myers can wear a mask, yeah. If Jason can wear a mask, so can you. Remember, I mean, I'm just telling people, man, people need to start wearing a mask more often so that we can go back to the theater, so that we can return to a normal life. And, people can just go out to dinner without, living in fear of, especially like a family of four, are my kids going to be in danger of us, eating out and, getting COVID or, coronavirus or just, it's insane. But hopefully these pushbacks or these delays will stop, because I'm starting to get desensitized to it. Even if Tenet gets pushed back again, I'm just going to be like, just push it till next year. I mean, we all know Nolan wants this to be, he wants his movie to be the movie to get people to come back to the theaters. But it's like, there's too many people who want to see it. There's too many people who want to see it right now. And I don't think that right now is the best time. Wave 2 is coming up if it's not here already. And, we got the fall and winter months. It's going to be hay fever, flu season. It's all about people's safety. And, I mean, I know it really sucks. And, he is more than within his own right to push this back. But it's like, if you don't want this to come out on VOD, then I would just push it back to next year. So, oh, well. So that pretty much does it for our general news. So we're going to head into our gaming news segment. So do you want to take this first one? And because we got a lot of Xbox and PlayStation news to talk about today.
We got a few kind of disappointing news stories here in gaming. First one being that more publishers are reportedly considering the $70 next-gen gaming price.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of should have expected it, but it still sucks.
Yeah. And,
still no news on how this affects the PC market, but I guess we'll see.
That is the big question, especially for a lot of PC gamers out there. But it's like we said, it's not too much of a shocker. Yes, these games are more expensive, but I was listening to Lana Pierce's podcast. Do you listen to her podcast at all, Devin? Play, watch, listen?
Not really.
It's actually pretty interesting, and they actually brought up this subject, and she was saying how she feels like it's just a marketing scheme. You have, let's say for NBA 2K20, you have the PS4 and Xbox One version, and then you see the PS5 and Xbox Series X version, and it's like, hey, well, for next gen 2K21 is $70 more on next gen. People are going to say, oh, well, this must cost more, so it's going to, essentially in their mind be better. But she was also talking about how, there could be a game out there that takes 2 to 3 years to make. It's still priced at $60 at the end of its production cycle. And then a game like The Last of Us Part 2 that took around 7+ years to make, and that's still priced at $60. She's like, I literally feel like people it's just a standard. Like, we're going to price it at $60. I don't think there's a real reason why. But, I mean, obviously, yeah, you would up the price to get more money from your consumers. But, I mean, it's kind of like, with microtransactions as big as they are, is there any real reason to up the price? Because, since we were kids, it's gone from $50 to $60 for 2 generations, PS3, 360, a PS4, and Xbox One. Now up to $70. We're definitely getting in that collector's edition, special edition range, because I think Ghost of Tsushima, that new PlayStation game that's coming out, I think the special edition is $70. You get, a few extra little bells and whistles with it. But, there's only 2 versions, but it's kind of like, okay, if $70 is going to be the new standard, what did, like you said, what does it say for PC gaming and what does it say for collector's editions? So it's kind of like collector's editions are going to automatically default start at $80 instead of $70. So
I have a proposal.
what is it?
Since the rise up to 70 seems inevitable at this point, they can at least do us a favor and make it memeable. Let's make the price $69.69, shall we?
I would
just
totally
just
be
a
down
little,
for that.
just give us a little
Chuckle.
23 cents or whatever back, 33 cents back.
69.69. I like the sound of that for sure.
Yeah, give us a meme price.
Some memes. Do it for the memes, Sony and Microsoft, or should I say all the game developers out there? Because it's weird because it's like who does price these games? Who is the end all be all, the final naysayer, the final who puts this in stone and says it's going to be $70 or $60 for this generation? But this actually goes into our next story here that we've talked about before. It looks like a lot of next-gen games, or titles, I should say.
More bad news here.
Yeah, we'll still be clocking in at 30 FPS. And
It's hard to hear.
It really is. It does. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of people about this as well. And I guess you could say I got into it with this one guy, but not really. I mean, even if you scroll down on this article here, and I wish we would have done a little bit of video era, but Digital Foundry, it's a YouTube channel. They go into huge, they literally get into the weeds when it comes to dissecting these games and which version of a certain game runs better on which hardware. Et cetera, et cetera. So definitely check them out. They're called Digital Foundry. And they were showing us what Marvel's Spider-Man, how it will look at 60 FPS. And I was, playing around with the video, kind of skimming through it. And it's like, it just looks, it's that nice, buttery smooth, 60 frames per second. And, people are saying, it's up to the devs and their creative decision. And I feel like we're kind of beating a dead horse. But, I mean, like you've said before, Devin, it's like, you need to give consumers a reason to buy your new console. If you're just going to do more of the same, why even come out with a new console to begin with? It's like, stop trying to focus too much on how a game looks and focus more on the performance. Because I definitely feel like we've hit a plateau when it comes to the visual effects. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's unfortunate, but PC Master Race.
PC Master Race. Yeah. So let's get into our next news story here. It looks like the Xbox Game Showcase has finally been revealed with its new date, which is July 23rd, which is really good for us, Devin, because that's 2 weeks away on a Thursday. So we'll be able to watch it. We'll be able to talk about it. So that'll be pretty cool, which is an amazing thing of why we do this on Thursdays, because it seems to be a crap ton of more news coming out after Wednesday, because I know a lot of people end up recording their new show middle of the week. Kind of makes sense, but we just like to do things differently. But yes, Xbox is going to have their new game showcase on July 23rd. This is going to be highlighting everything. Well, they're going to be showing first-party games, their exclusive lineup, as well as some third-party games, similar to the PlayStation 5 event that we got a month ago. And I'm kind of excited. Was there anything that you're looking forward to coming out of this event?
I want to see what new stuff they got cooking. Obviously, we know they have Halo. Maybe a Gears, maybe a Fable. Forza probably, but I want to see the new stuff we know they've got cooking.
Yeah, like they bought 12 studios within the past few years. They've definitely been taking care of business. Talking shop with all of these different developers, what they're looking for in a new console, and I'm sold. I mean, I'm not like sold, but this is supposed to kick off the pre-show is supposed to be 8 a.m. Pacific, and it will kick off at 9 a.m. Pacific on Twitch and YouTube, well as Jeff Keighley's YouTube channel. So that's 11 o'clock our time, which is perfect because that's during my lunch hour. So I'll be able to kind of, sneak past it, watch a bit of it. Hopefully it won't be too long. They didn't say the length, but yeah, first party and third party games are going to be there. So that's pretty cool. And Phil Spencer said he's quite confident in their lineup after seeing Sony's event that happened. But you want to take this next bit of news.
To piggyback off of that news story we have a little further down, someone said that or PlayStationLifestyle.net, that's great, unbiased source there, it says that Sony, in quotes, quite smartly held back some PS5 announcements for August so they can kind of try to counter Xbox's event. Quite smartly just sounds so dumb.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, see, I don't really believe this too much because, I mean, we all know when new consoles come out, they really don't have a lot of software or a lot of games to play. It's maybe an exclusive here or there. Like, yeah, there's a few third-party games, but, consoles really don't hit the ground running until maybe like year 2, year 3, to be completely honest. That's when the good stuff gets in there. So, I mean, yeah, I'd say quite smartly held back some PS5 announcements. I'm sure they did hold back some announcements from this, this event that they have so that they can have a state of play in August.
Yeah, there's a whole VR community hoping that PS5 makes a PSVR announcement at some point.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe
so
they're
it's
holding
like,
that back.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's like, well, yeah, of course they're going to have something that they didn't show that isn't relevant as to what's going on right now. Because, I mean, not even only that, I mean, what's relevant now, they just showed us what the box art looks like as well. So it's like some people, like I know a lot of people out there like it. It shows us the Spider-Man Miles Morales box art. It looks very clean. I don't know how I feel about the white banner on the top of the box art itself. The cover art of Spider-Man Miles Morales looks amazing. But I feel like the blue, black, and white kind of clash together. I feel like the inside casing, the blue should have been like more of a transparent black or just black altogether. Would have been pretty cool. If you're going to go with the whites on black, just make the case itself black. So,
yeah.
Do you have any? I mean, I know you
sent that Blockbuster case in our messenger. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh my gosh, yeah, man. So wait, is that at your house or did you just find that online?
I just Googled it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, you have a Blockbuster case in your house? What? There's no. Wow, I was gonna be pretty impressed by you there, but and also let's I guess we'll just round out the rest of the PlayStation news and get back to the Xbox stuff really quick here. And it looks like there is a new patent that suggests that the PlayStation PS5 will be backwards compatible with PlayStation 2, 3, and PlayStation 1 games as well. It looks, I mean, from the little diagram, it looks like they're pulling from some type of server, which just means either you're going to have to buy these games digitally again, which means that you're not going to be able to just plug in your PlayStation 3 disc and it's automatically going to work. Same thing with PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games. I mean, I understand why people want backwards compatibility. I mean, especially now that Microsoft has been thriving with this new mechanic in their arsenal. But I mean, PlayStation 4 did just fine without backwards compatibility. There are some PS2 games that you can buy on the store. Like I bought the Jack and Daxter collection for like $20 or something when I was on sale. And I mean, there's only like a handful of games. Like, I can't exactly say I'm clamoring to go back and playing, like, the original Crash Bandicoot games from the PlayStation 1. But, I mean, they're definitely missing a big library with the PlayStation 2. But it's also about, the resources. Do they want to put that much resources into this? But, seeing their main competitor, Xbox, has been doing this for a while. It's, a lot of people have been looking at Sony. So, yeah. You got any thoughts on this?
No, not really.
All right. Well, let's move on here.
What else we got here? We got the
Xbox
is interested in acquiring WB Interactive, which is something we've mentioned in the past. Is something that they should definitely do.
Yeah. Definitely talked about it here on the pod before. And, it just makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't you? Microsoft definitely has the nice deep pockets for this, and it's just kind of a no-brainer at this point. I mean, if they do, that'd be amazing. If not, I don't know where else they would go. Sony just ended up purchased Insomniac Games. Who does Ratchet and Clank, the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game. So, I can't really say their pockets are hurting either, but, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. It's either that or Nintendo. I don't see Nintendo picking up this stuff. So, come on, Phil Spencer. Let's get onto it. But we got a few more bits of news story here, and then we'll wrap up. Looks like Halo 3 finally arrives on the PC as part of the Halo Master Chief Collection, coming out on July 14th. So within the next Tuesday, this coming up Tuesday, we'll be able to play some Halo 3.
Finally.
So, yeah, I know a lot of our friends have kind of been waiting for that. So that'll be kind of nice to dive back into for a little bit there. And you want to take this next news story about Xbox telling these developers what's up?
Yeah, Xbox is telling developers that next-gen upgrades should be free. Absolutely. Why would you be that greedy? Come on.
Yeah, I like it how Microsoft is going up to bat for gamers, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense when it comes to we're at a crossroads where one generation is ending and a new one's beginning. Why would you not have a lot of these games available on both platforms or cross-gen for people who are want to upgrade their Xbox One or who want to upgrade their PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5? These games should be next gen upgrades should be free. It really should be. There's no point in buying the same game twice when all it really is just a couple of updates that can be pushed to your PlayStation or your Xbox, and boom, bing bang boom, you're done. It's a nice one-time buy. Every single time that someone updates their PC, they don't have to go out and rebuild their entire library up all over again. So,
yeah,
good job.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
In the words of the great Spike Lee.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got our last bit of news story here. Looks like Ubisoft is making a big game free for a limited time. What do you think it could be?
A great series with a great upcoming game coming out soon, hopefully.
Oh, it is Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
Watch Dogs 2 will be free during the Ubisoft, whatever it's called, showcase they're doing on Sunday.
Ooh.
So
that's good.
I'll scoop it up. I don't have it on PC.
Yeah, I'll scoop it up too. I know Devin really loves this franchise for whatever reason, but to each their own.
I cannot wait for the third one. It looks so good.
I think you're the only person I know.
You can play as any NPC in the game. That's so cool.
Well, hopefully we'll be able. I'll definitely check it out for sure. I can't promise that I'll beat it, but if someone's giving me a game for free, I'll definitely check it out. So, yeah. So I believe that actually does it for our news show here today. We're coming up on time here. So everyone, thank you for listening to this week's news show. We plan to do a Palm Spring review this coming up Monday. Devin has some unexpected errands to run, I guess you could say. It's got some family coming to town, so we have to push that back to Monday. And I believe Jacob from the Music City Drive-In podcast will be joining us as well. for our Palm Spring reviews. So keep a lookout for that. We'll probably live stream it and then upload the audio version up on our podcast, so for everyone to listen to who wasn't able to make the stream. And of course, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Red Circle, Pandora, and iHeart Radio. And go ahead and check us out on Twitter and Instagram. We had a nice little trailer come out, a nice little audio trailer for those coming out. That's running on the Nostalgunk podcast as of right now, and we're doing them a favor by running their cross promotion on ours as well. So you probably heard it during this episode at some time. So, so we got that going on. I believe that pretty much does it for this episode. My name is Christian, and that was Devin, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.